Over the years, I've tested hundreds of barbecue products and I've come up with 10 that are absolutely worth it and another 10 that are sadly, well, about as useful as taking your hard-earned cash and setting it ablaze. Nobody likes wasting their money on a barbecue gimmick. So I've come up with 10 that are a waste of money and 10 that I think are absolutely worth it, starting at just 10 bucks. So in no particular order, let's go through first the ones that I would give a hard pass, and then we'll go through my top 10, 2 thumbs up. So number 1 on my hard pass list is specialty grill grates, particularly ones that just focus on creating sear marks versus promoting an amazing Maillard reaction. I'm ashamed to admit I spent over $100 buying these specialty grill grates for a 4-way sear battle, and I was disappointed with the results, not only knowing which was which, but when I did a blind taste test with Sarah as well. This definitely, in my opinion, is not worth the hype. Number 2 on my list is a dedicated cold smoke generator. So these don't fit all makes and models, but they're very popular for Kamado style grills, as well as kettles, Weber Smoky Mountains, and things like that. But the dedicated smoke generator that I bought, well, it did an admirable job creating temperatures below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I was able to beat it, not only with flavor, but also utility, using something like my Fireboard drive. So this is about a similar investment in upfront cost, but I get way more utility having something like a Fireboard drive that I can use for hot smokes as well as cold smokes. And this has just been something that's taken up space in the garage, and I haven't found myself reaching for it ever since I did that video, and has never seen the light of day again since I tested it in my first video, is specialty rotating rib racks. These are something that you can install on your rotisserie system, grill things like vegetables, sausages, and or have sort of a ribulator spinning directly over the coals. Not only does it take up a lot of space, this is also not an inexpensive accessory, and the result that I got on these ribs was not anything to write home about in terms of what you're able to turn out on a grill exactly as it comes from the factory. So in hindsight, hard pass on the rib rack. Number 6 on my list, again, a bit of a hot take, is the new trend for digital dome gauges. And there's a fork in the road here. There's one that simply replaces your grill's temperature gauge with a digital gauge with a large readout display that makes it easier to see. But this comes with a bunch of caveats in terms of how easy it is to see in the sun, how accurate the materials are, and how long the battery lasts. There's nothing more frustrating than a battery expiring in the middle of your cook, and now you have absolutely no information and very hot components to remove. The second category is what I wished for in my original digital dome gauge review, is something that solves a bit more of a problem. If we're gonna go for a digital gauge, maybe it'd be amazing if it could talk to wireless probes and even an optional temperature control fan. So new units that came out this year, like the Chef's Temp S1, which integrates with the Brizo fan along with the Pro Temp 2 Plus wireless probes as a complete integrated ecosystem. I'm absolutely a big fan of this approach, but not so much a fan of just the digital dome gauge, as I found that introduces more problems than it solves. Number 7 on my list, this is something that we all use, which is charcoal. And to my surprise, I did an experiment between less expensive small and medium-sized charcoal versus extra large charcoal, which almost always comes with a cost premium. Because we lose so much of the smaller pieces into things like a charcoal basket, and or we don't get the same burn time, I actually caught up and passed the total cost of burning extra large charcoal versus medium and smaller charcoal. So if you see that discount bag that is very, very small pieces that you're gonna end up losing, you may actually end up paying more than you would stepping up for something like the extra large size blocks. This is a big revelation that I learned this year, and one that I wish I knew years ago, as that potentially could have saved me hundreds, if not of thousands of dollars over the years. Number 8 on my list is overpriced beef tallow. I did an experiment with expensive store-bought Wagyu beef tallow versus the tallow that comes for free on the brisket that you pick up from your butcher, and trimming that off, throwing it in the smoker, and making your own tallow at home. By no means would I disagree that there is a great convenience factor, but you cannot taste the difference between $20, $30 beef tallow versus the tallow that you get for free. And as a best practice, I definitely recommend making your own every time that you trim up a brisket, leaving it in the fridge, and it'll be there for you next time and save you your hard-earned cash, especially since there is no appreciable difference when injecting and or resting in premium overpriced, in my opinion, Wagyu beef tallow. Number 9 on my list is the only carryover survivor from about 5 years ago when I did a waste of money update, and that is meat claws. These absolutely, in my opinion, serve no purpose, but in reality, when you're using the meat claws versus dedicated forks and or my preference of using high heat gloves along with a nitrile glove, you don't get the control of the shred. You have something else taking up space inside of your grill cabinet for no appreciable benefit in terms of using it. So otherwise, looking cool like Wolverine for a few seconds. This is about the only joy imparted from this accessory, and otherwise I found myself just reaching for household forks, which are easier to throw in the dishwasher and take up much less space. Number 10 on my list is a bit unique if you are a big green egg owner. So earlier in this year, I first tried my double indirect method, and to do that, I pulled for using the Ceramic Grill Store spider accessory. But as I've gone on and tried other methods, even though this absolutely works, the problem with the spider accessory in the big green egg is it drops our deflector plates down into the usable space, especially on large models that are smaller than my extra large models, eating into the charcoal space that we need for long cooks. Instead, I found a better way using the plate setter and stock deflector plates and a whole bunch of other setups that I go through in my double indirect guides. So now that we've gone through the 10 accessories that I think are a hard pass and fall in the waste of money category, let's go through my top 10 2 thumbs up gifts and barbecue accessories for 2025. With my 10 gimmicks out of the way, now let's go into the 10 accessories that I find myself grabbing all the time. So whether you're looking for a gift for yourself and or the grill fanatic in your family, these are the 10 that I think you will find the absolute most useful. So number 1, no particular order in my list, is a good pair of high heat gloves. You've seen me over the years use these. Ones are available on Amazon. They're called JH Safety. The only issue that I have with these is over time, they eventually do delaminate, and all of a sudden you start getting a hot spot on your thumb. Another great alternative that I've not yet been able to break or wear out is the high heat gloves offered by Meter. Both of these work incredibly well and will protect your hands for handling hot deflectors to adding logs into your offset smoker and or everything in between. These will keep your hands safe. Number 3 on our list comes from our friends at Drip Easy. So whether you're using something like their barbecue prep tub for brining, prepping, and or transporting your food to a location, things like the prep tub along with the barbecue resting blanket have been a game changer. Now you can always hold things in your oven for a long time, but not everyone has an oven that can be manually adjusted down to the super low temperatures that you need. So I was really impressed when I used the barbecue resting blanket from Drip Easy, and hours later I was able to still be well above food safe temperatures. And I have used this countless times throughout the summer, moving things like ribs and briskets to friends and family's house that I'm not planning to serve it for a couple hours. This is a game changer for holding things at your house and or moving it to a friend's place, or maybe even participating in a barbecue competition. In all of those cases, the prep tub and blanket have been an absolute game changer. Number 4 on my list is our friends from Chef's Temp. You see almost in every cook, I'm using something like my incredibly accurate and reliable X10. This is giving me spot checks on whatever's going on with my food. I love the bright, easy to read display, the magnetic back, along with the ability to use the hold feature and make sure I can get my hand out of the heat and actually see what the temperatures were without losing the temperature. So hands down, this is not only the best spot thermometer that I've tested and used over the years, but as I was mentioning in my 10 accessories to skip, Chef's Temp has a number of other products that have sort of hit everyone's radar this year, including the S1 digital dome gauge, which I've used on my Weber Smoky Mountain, along with the Brizo fan and the Pro Temp Plus wireless meat thermometer into a complete package. And so this took something like my very effective and very affordable Weber Smoky Mountain and turned it into a wireless smart grill, costing hundreds less than even a basic pellet grill option, and gave me amazing results. So if you happen to be interested in a wireless ecosystem, I don't have the math in front of me right now, so I won't want to misquote you, but in my Wireless Pro video, the Chef's Temp solution using my code SDBarbecue came in nearly half some of the other competing systems that include a giant grill gauge, a wireless probe, as well as a control fan. So if you happen to be in the market for an instant read thermometer and or an automated grill solution, make sure you check out Chef's Temp in 2025. Number 5 on my list is our friends from Grill Blazer. Just give you a quick demo here. That never gets old. So there are a number of ways that I use my Grill Blazer grill gun outside of just starting my grills. I take it with me camping and I start our solo stove, and I'm able to get nice smoke when campers around me look like they're bringing in a new pope and there is white smoke and every other campsite. And this attracts a lot of positive attention of how I was able to get the camp's supplied wet wood burning nice and clean. You see me use it regularly on my big green eggs as well as my offset smoker. And this is again a game changer for being able to get a nice clean combustion and get to the business of cooking versus waiting. Speaking of waiting, I did a test versus a gas grill as well as a pellet grill and a Kamado with charcoal, and I was able to get up to temperatures, searing temperatures faster using the Grill Blazer grill gun than I was versus even a high-end natural gas and or pellet grill. So this is something that you'll find if you want to be cooking midweek and you don't want to spend 40 minutes or so waiting for your grill come up to temperature. You can be grill ready in a matter of minutes with something like the Grill Blazer grill gun and or the sous vide gun. And a maybe unconventional use case if you're looking for something else to talk yourself into it, it makes an amazing weed torch for burning anything that's growing in between your driveway cracks. Next on my list is the pepper cannon. And so by no means is this an inexpensive investment, but everybody that I've talked to that has one absolutely loves it. I had the opportunity to give these away as part of my backyard barbecue rescue series, and I hear from thousands in comments who have gone and bought their own that this is absolutely every bit a game changer that I found it to be if you are making your own rubs at home. So not only can I grind pepper 10 times quicker than my regular pepper mill, I'm able to get a very precise grind with a wide range in mesh, as well as burn a wide range in mesh, as well as the ability to grind up other fresh spices that I like to add to my own rubs. Rub prices continually are on the rise, and so being able to make something at home, not only does this give me the flexibility to do that, but I'm also able to get the benefit and all the flavor of fresh cracked pepper versus stuff that you're buying already cracked sitting on the shelf at Costco, potentially past its best before date, which it does not carry the same amount of oomph when it comes to getting that spice and pepper flavor on your food. Number 7 on my list belongs to our friends from Dalstrong Knives. If you've been following the channel since the beginning, you've seen me use Dalstrong products from day one. I think they are a tremendous value, incredible quality, and they feel amazing in the hand. And there is an abundance of options to find a knife that meets your particular needs. If you do hit the website and are overwhelmed at the abundance of options and different knives, here are the ones that I use most often that might help you pick and navigate your first couple of knives if you're just getting started out with your collection. So the first one in no particular order is a boning and trimming knife. So when you're trimming up a brisket, having a nice, sharp, flexible blade makes quick and easy work of trimming up a brisket. The most obvious one on the list would be a great chef's knife. I prefer a slightly longer, so I'm often in the 9+ inch size chef knife. And last but not least is a slicing and carving knife. So coming back to those rib, brisket, pork belly, whatever it may be, having a carving knife for things like those as well as your holiday turkeys come in incredibly handy. And our friends from Dalstrong, again, I think do an amazing job at a high quality product at an incredible value. Be sure to check out the link for Dalstrong along with everybody else that made my top 10 list in the description after today's video. Number 8 on my list, there's a bunch here from our friends at Kick-Ash Basket. They make the charcoal basket as well as the Kick-Ash can, which is hands down, I think we are in essential territory, particularly for Kamado style grills like my big green eggs behind me. This gives me the ability to quickly shake out my ash. All is collected in the can and I am clean and ready to go. This makes incredible sense, particularly if you're using something like the Minimax and you quickly want to cool it off and be able to get it back into your vehicle for transport. So the ash basket and can are one that you've heard me many times talk about the value. But what I'm holding here is maybe quickly become my favorite accessory from Kick-Ash Basket, which is their array of drip pans, which have these little tabs on the bottom. And as small as these may be, it is an incredibly big detail in terms of what happens for cleanup. So these pans are used for catching grease. So adding a bit of foil helps make sure that you're ready to clean up and go next time. But the air gap afforded by these little feet keeps the grease off of your hot deflector stones, which stops grease from either starting a fire and or burning and smoldering. And the smoldering smell of brisket grease or pork grease on deflector stones is not the flavor that you want on your pork shoulders, your brisket, or your ribs or things like that. So for flavor alone, absolutely sold and love the drip pans from our friends Chad and Tracy at Kick-Ash Basket. They've got a bunch of other cool accessories like grill grate holders and some other things. I'll put the details down in the website. Number 9 on the list, this one is yours truly, starting at just about 10 bucks. I have a bunch of digital guides, so if you're struggling or new to Kamado style cooking, I have things from vent settings for Primo, Kamado Joe, and Big Green Egg, as well as my double indirect setup for all 3 of those grills, and some best practices that can quickly instill some of my 2 decades of live fire cooking and grilling experience and get you up to speed in a matter of no time, along with all the tested and proven best practice setups for whatever brand Kamado you happen to be following along on. And number 10 on my list is if you're following along with a Big Green Egg and have not yet seen or considered buying the expander accessory rack, this is one that I think I've used more than any other accessory this year. And it started earlier in the year when I was visiting Cooper at Barry Barbecue, which is now officially on the Texas Monthly Top 50 list. And I was able to cook some ribs that he said he'd be proud to serve in his restaurant. And the way that I did that is using the expander rack, being able to manage a live cold smoke fire directly down below. This is the only system that I've tested that makes accessing and maintaining a live fire incredibly simple. And when we're done and we want to switch to indirect mode, it's easy peasy as I have direct access to the bottom and I can install extra deflectors and or my cooking grates and a drip pan without any fuss and needing to remove my food. So there you go. Those are my 10 for me, what I would put in the gimmick category, and 10 2 thumbs up accessories. If I missed anything, the comments are a great resource for other people watching along. If you've got an accessory that you absolutely love and use every day and you want others to know about it, by all means, let me know down in the comments. And if you've got one that I missed that you've never used again after spending your money and you wish you could travel back in time and get your hard-earned cash back in your wallet for a more useful accessory, let me know down below, which will also help alert others checking out the comments. That's it for today. I'm James from Smoking Dad Barbecue signing off. Remember, don't be afraid to fire it up.